This guy launched a product in a $63 billion market, but little did he know about the journey that was ahead of him.
We're going to pour the next 10, 15 years into a company. Let's shoot for the stars.
Nick spent 2 years building a simplified CRM for investors, but one day he learned an insight that would change everything.
This is kind of it. It's not going to work, right?
We decided to start all over again. Nick invited us to his London office to show us exactly the signals they used to launch, the pricing strategy that doubled their conversion rate, and the blueprint to reach 1,000 paying customers. This is the epic story of Attio.
Hey Nick,
Hey.
Great to have you, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell me, what are you guys building?
We're building Attio, which is a next-gen CRM. What that really means is that it's a massively powerful data model, super flexible, incredibly customizable to your business, with a ton of really powerful automation layered on top. And that automation is, it's been supercharged by recent developments in AI, LLMs, etc. So we can automate a ton of stuff that would normally require really laborious human work.
Before you launched Attio, you worked for 2 years on a simple to use CRM for investors. And one day you realized that that idea couldn't be as big as you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
What's the story?
We spent 2 years building a CRM, a very vertical CRM. And like many people who have built CRMs before, we thought that the ones on the market were complicated and clunky and difficult to use and difficult to deploy, which is all true. Those things are all right. And so we went to solve those problems for a smaller part of the market, because when you're trying to make things simple, one of the ways you do that is just narrow down what it can do. In building that company, working on it for 2 years, kind of realized that we missed something massive, which was people want simplicity. They want things that are beautiful, easy to use. But actually, CRMs are so core to businesses that they want something extremely powerful. Like fundamentally, your ability to go to market, sell things, whatever, is otherwise completely limited. And we'd missed that entirely. And so we had this horrible sinking feeling that we were just building on the wrong foundations fundamentally. What's interesting is that when you are hyper-focused on an ICP, on a customer and a small set of problems, you can quite quickly solve those problems with sort of hard-coded solutions. You can say, you have this problem, let me automate that for you. Because of that, we were able to get traction quite quickly. So we say right, you work like this all day, let me just take that, and instead of it taking 5 minutes, it will now take 5 seconds, and people will buy that, saving them time. And so we were able to get revenue quite quickly, but because what we built was so rigid, so focused on this one subset of the problem, really, this one type of business, it was very difficult to then try and sell that to someone else. And so you're building, you're kind of like pouring your life into this company, and you have this feeling that it's just not going to go beyond, this kind of small market segment that you're looking after. At the same time, you're developing a really good understanding of what the rest of the market would want, because you're living in this world all the time. And yeah, so that was the kind of moment where we were like, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to pour the next 10, 15 years into a company, let's shoot for the stars.
Was there one event or one conversation or one signal that one day really gave you a strong feeling that it wasn't the right focus, the right product?
It starts off as being a sort of conversation in the office. It's like, well, how are we going to serve the next set of customers? How do we make this product more powerful? It was tactical. It was like, well, let's just do these little things. We went to try and make those changes. So one of the things was, that the name was very focused on a market. Well, we'll change the name. The data model is not quite flexible enough, so let's add custom fields. All of these things. We went to do that, and actually it was really hard, because the foundation, the 2 years of work, were not pointing us in this direction. We were trying to kind of pivot, but with all the baggage that we'd accrued, and it was really, really difficult. It was the summer of 2019. It was so stressful. We were trying to get this thing to work. We were trying to sell to a new type of customer. Product wasn't working. The platform wasn't working. The changes we were trying to make on the old architecture just weren't holding up. And me and Alex, my co-founder, one day we were like, we just got to get out of the office. Let's just go and sit and have a cup of coffee in the cafe. And I mean, we were exhausted, bags under our eyes, super stressed. And we looked at each other, and there was this kind of tacit understanding that we both knew this wasn't going to work. And so we were both at the same time, we kind of said to each other, this is kind of it. It's not going to work, right? And then we were both like, yeah, this won't work. And so we sat there and we were like, well, now that we've been doing this for 2 years, do we know what would work? Because we have a really good idea of where we want to go, what would work. So we got a piece of paper and we sat in that cafe for 2 hours, and we everything we'd learned in the previous 2 years, we just put down on paper. And we got so excited during that 2-hour process that we then went back to the office, got everyone round table. We're like, guys, we're starting an entirely new company. We're starting again. We're going to build Attio. That day we started again.
Guys started Attio.
Yeah.
New name, new code base,
Yeah.
new vision.
Yeah.
And you went through crossing the desert basically for 3 years.
Yeah.
To build that product.
Yeah.
How did you survive? How did you get the motivation to do that?
When we started working on Attio, one thing that we knew is because of the mistakes we made previously, we knew that for us to build this platform that would endure and deliver on the kind of vision we had, that we really wanted to build a fully fledged CRM. So we didn't want to end up solving a small problem in CRM and being a point solution. We wanted to build a CRM. It's very difficult to build a MVP CRM because they're huge products. So we knew we were going to invest a long time in this before we could bring it to market at all. And initially, when you're starting a new company, I mean, like nervousness, etc., but there's also like a ton of excitement, ton of energy. You haven't worked out all the hard bits yet. You're just like all in. And so initially, we're sinking years into this, almost no validation. We keep testing it with users, but they're saying it's not ready yet. It's like this temptation to not continue on the same path. We've all heard it a million times. If you're not getting feedback, pivot, change, update, etc. But we had such a strong idea of what we wanted to build that it was really difficult to stay on that path while it wasn't working. Eventually, we're sort of 2.5 years into this, and the team when we launched yet, every like YC companies are launching within 3 months and starting to make money, etc. We essentially set some parameters around what we would want to see for us to go and take this to market, essentially. It took a long time, but it was after about 2.5 years, we would start getting on calls with people that we'd onboarded, and 2 weeks later, a month later, they'd still be using the product. That's the point when I thought, gone far enough without exposing ourselves entirely to the world. We just got to do it now.
After all this hard work and these 3 years, you guys launched the product.
Yeah.
What happened?
So we launched almost 3 years exactly from the day that we started building Attio. Obviously, you never feel ready. We set the date quite far out, like 5 months out or something. We were like, this is the day that we launch. Everyone knows we will not miss this date. It will not change. We're going to launch on this day. And that was a really amazing rallying point for the company. We should have used these like pivotal launches and moments much more to set the tempo. And we now do that all the time. So, we have a whole cadence in the company around a company-wide calendar of things that are coming up that everyone's focusing on. So we set this date, like super nervous going into it. You're like literally something you've been working on for years. And for 2 years before that, we work on a different CRM. So we've been building towards this for huge part of our career. Yeah, ultimately it went well. And so at the point that we launched, about 100 companies were paying for the product. That was in March, end of March last year, so exactly a year ago. We now have about 1,000 companies pay for Attio, and then there's a few thousand more that are on our free plan.
Fast forward 1 year, the company has significantly accelerated. What happened in the last 6 months that drove that?
There have been two things, I think, that have really made a big difference. One is that we have got much better at analytics. And I'm not saying that just because of June. It's something that we've got much better at. When you get into this experimentation and iteration mode, you don't want to be like totally data-driven to the extent that you start making odd decisions and going down weird paths, but you want to at least know that your gut feeling, the things that you think are right, actually are right.
Real quick, if you're building a SaaS, let me show how you can 10x the number of people using it. Imagine you can find out who uses your product and use that information to make people stick around. With June.so, we have dozens of ready-made analyses to understand how companies use your product, audiences to understand what each single person does, and automation to turn this usage into revenue. For instance, Knack, a no-code database software, is using June to measure users' behaviors and pass this information to their CRM. It's simple. They added June, check who logged in the last 14 days, and offer targeted support to users in need. If you want to make each sign-up count, then check out June.so. I'm leaving a link below. Enjoy the rest of the video.
And the second thing I think has been like really impactful is that we changed the way that we do trials. So we went from free product and then being able to upgrade into a paid plan. That was the first iteration. Everyone starts on free, and then you just literally, upgrade to pro plus whatever. The second version was that you went into free and you could trial a paid plan, slightly better. But the version that we have now is, by far the best. And actually over the last 12 months or so, we've managed to double our conversion rates with these tweaks. It's called a reverse trial. Everyone who comes into the product starts on our most popular paid plan, which is our Pro plan, gets to use the product to its full capacity for 2 weeks, and at the end makes a decision to go down to our free plan, which is actually still very generous, or whether to stay and continue to use our Pro features. But we were basically saying, you have to start here, and then you've got to figure out that actually the version of the product you need is up here. Now what we're saying is, well, let's just give you everything so that you don't have to make this complex buying decision. It's all available. And then after 2 weeks, once you've built all the things you need to build in Attio, you can decide, or Attio will help you decide whether, how much of the Pro plan you actually need. Mm-hmm. And for some people, they're like, no, I'll do great on the free plan. And other people are like, no, we've set up really big data ingestion pipelines, and we're using custom objects, and we've got a ton of reporting going on, and they'll stay on the Pro plan.
Since you guys are building a next-gen CRM,
yeah,
I thought it would be a good idea to play a little game of Guess Who together.
Love it.
So there are a couple of famous people, some people that are less famous.
Does your character have a toothy smile?
More yes than no.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. I think I'm going to take a shot on the next question. Go on.
Okay. Does your character use Facebook?
No. So I'm going to go with Bob Ross.
No, it's not Bob Ross. Does your character enjoy reading teen romance novel?
Enjoy? I mean, if I had to guess, I would actually say they do enjoy. Would your character tweet?
Yes.
We're so back.
No.
No. Okay, so they're not in tech.
You guys have a crazy story about your seed round and how you closed it.
We were in the middle of COVID. We were talking with these funds, and eventually we get right to the end. We've kind of spoken to 20 funds, whatever it is, and we have a couple of term sheets. At the same time, we're speaking to Point 9, and we loved the conversations we'd have with them. We thought they were amazing, and we really wanted to work with them. And specifically, I really wanted to work with Ricardo. They really pushed us. We were getting a lot of pressure from the other funds to sign the term sheets. And I said to Ricardo, I was like, it's absolutely fine if you're not going to invest. Just I've got to make a decision. And he said, I need to ask you, I've got a couple more questions. We have one call. And I was, at that time, in the middle of COVID, we had a newborn baby, and we were traveling to see my wife's parents, and we were going to fly through Germany to get to Austria. So I said, look, I've got a layover in Germany. I'll call you when I land, and I have an hour. And he said, perfect, that's all we need. So we land in Germany, it's all masks and super tight COVID restrictions. We've got this tiny baby screaming the whole nightmare. We are right at the back of the plane with the last people in the passport control. And I've got 15 minutes before my call with Ricardo. I'm like, come on, this queue's so slow. We get to the passport control, and she looks at our passport and she says, British, Austrian, no entry. And we're like, sorry? And she's like, COVID, no entry. And we're like, but we're in transit, we're only for Germans. We're like, well, what are we going to do? And she's like, on the phone, blah, blah. Before we know it, we've been escorted by the police to the Munich airport police station and given a deportation paper. In the police station, I'm doing the call, trying to not let him see all of the police stuff. And by the end of it, I just I can't control the situation. And there's 5 policemen standing behind me, and he's like, "What? Where are you? What's going on?" I'm like, "I'm actually being deported from Germany right now." We did the call. We managed to get deported to Austria rather than to England, which was good.
And to get the term sheet too?
And the term sheet, yeah.
Does your character look like they enjoy country music?
Do they look like they enjoy it? I wouldn't say so, no. Does your character look like they would give good medical advice? Do they look professional?
That's a tricky one. Not so much.
No? Interesting.
Try to guess on this one. Is that person Christopher Jens?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Would there be a lot of YouTube results of them talking if you put their name in?
There would be a lot of YouTube results. Yes to that, but talking, no.
Interesting.
Where do you see Attio in 5 years?
We're trying to build something really ambitious, and we have a lot of potential customers out there. And I really hope and dream about Attio being a public company. If we look back and that's what's happened, then amazing.
Does your character look like his or her life is being torn apart by alcoholism?
No. I'm gonna ask a boring question. Is your character a sports star?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a tech person?
Big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
All the people I have left are tech people already. I'm so stupid.
So I'm going to go for Mbappe.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well done. Well done. Well played. Who was your character?
Alex, my co-founder.
Oh my god. Yeah, I had all the tech people basically left.
Yeah.
My questions were pretty bad.
You see, I think Alex could almost definitely enjoy teen romance novels.
Nick, thank you so much for having me. It was super fun. If you're looking to try the next gen CRM, then check out attio.com. And until next time, thank you for watching. See you.